Hi everybody, welcome to the kitchen. I'm Chef Bryan, cooking fresh with Green Giant, and today I'm going to show you how to do a great nacho potato casserole. The ingredients are going to include a prepared cheddar cheese soup base. There's some milk, sugar, Worcestershire sauce. I have some prepared tomato sauce. This is simply a taco seasoning packet. There's green chilies that I've just taken out of the can. They're already chopped up and ready for us to go. A little bit of paprika, salt, pepper. I'm going to be using some red kidney beans as well as the whole baby Idaho potatoes or the steamer potato packet that I'm going to be using, some onion and some green bell pepper. So let's get started. To start this recipe, I'm simply going to brown up about 2 pounds of hamburger. To this, I'm going to add some of our chopped up onion. And I'm just going to let this brown up nicely here. Just kind of break up those bigger pieces. I do like to use a silicone spatula. It doesn't scratch my pan, and it's heat resistant. Now while that's browning up, I need to chop up a few more onions and bell peppers here. When you chop up a bell pepper, be it green, orange, yellow, what you want to do is to put the fleshy side down. And that way I can cut through the harder outer layer or skin of the bell pepper. Just cut it into a julienne cut like that. Line them all up together. And then we're just simply going to dice those up. There we go. Add those to my bell peppers here. As far as the onion, I'm not really worried about a perfect dice on this particular dish, so I'm just going to chop this and then I'm going to run the blade through it and kind of mince it up just a little bit more. There we go, those are a nice chop, and let's just simply put these on the plate for later. And while the meat is browning over here, I do want to put our whole baby Idaho potatoes into the microwave oven. There are 4 varieties of this particular potato. These are the 3 chili sauce that we're using. It's a great little steamer potato that actually has a butter-like flavor disc in it, and so you can cook it up for snacks or for dinners. It's very convenient to use. So I'm going to put this right into the microwave for about 4.5 minutes. Then we'll let that cool, and we're going to add it into our casserole. Let's check on our meat here. It's browning up nicely. Be sure to break up any of these large clumps so that you have even cooking in your meat. While this is finishing up browning, I'm going to go back over to the microwave because our potatoes are ready. Be careful when you take them out. They're going to be hot. Let them sit for a couple of minutes to cool off a bit so that you can chop them up. Now while our potatoes are cooling over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to our browning hamburger over there our tomato sauce and the prepared taco seasoning. What I like to do actually is start with the taco seasoning and just spread that right over and kind of work it in. Ooh, it smells yummy. There we go. And then I'm going to add some prepared tomato sauce to it. There we go. Stir that all in. Let this cook for just a couple of minutes so that all of those flavors infuse in each other. Just turn it down a little bit if it's boiling too rapidly. There we go. And this is actually going to be the bottom of the casserole. Break up any large chunks of the hamburger that you find in there. There you go. So let this simmer for just a couple of minutes. So that should be time enough to come over now to our potatoes, which have been cooling. So I'm just going to move this plate up here out of my way for a minute. And I'm going to chop these potatoes up into some more bite-sized pieces. They're already fairly small, but I'm just going to chop them up a little bit more. So just put them right out onto your cutting board. There we go. And just simply chop them up a little bit into more bite-sized pieces. Now that the potatoes are already chopped up, everything's ready to go, we simply have to assemble the casserole. I really do like casseroles because they're one-dish wonders. You can put everything in here and have a complete dinner. Now I've sprayed this casserole dish lightly with a little bit of vegetable spray, and I'm going to add the hamburger right directly in, and this is going to be the bottom of our casserole. There we go. Once you get that all in there, just simply spread it out evenly along the bottom there. I do like to kind of pat it down just a little bit to give me a little extra room. There we go. On top of that, I'm going to add some of our red kidney beans. Use your spatula to spread those out evenly as well. And I'm going to put on some of the prepared green chilies here. Give it a little kick. And if you don't like your casseroles really hot, you can cut back on the amount of chilies that you put in there, or you literally can just leave them out altogether. Once those are all spread out, I'm going to put the potatoes on there, and I'm using a bench scrape to pick them up because I want to get all of that flavor that was in with them. And these are going to go right on top. There we go. Now once again, use your spatula to spread them out evenly. So this is where we're going to use our prepared cheddar cheese soup base. So add this right into the bowl. I'm going to add a little bit of milk to it. Just a little bit of sugar to sweeten it up. And this is where the Worcestershire sauce goes into. And I really like Worcestershire sauce. Now just mix this together. And do you remember those onions and peppers that I was chopping up earlier? This is where I'm going to add them to. So let's just add the rest of those two here. Stir this all together. And the reason why you want to stir it is you want to break up those clumps of the cheddar cheese soup base. I wouldn't recommend at this point putting a whisk in there because all of that will get caught in the whisk, and so you don't want to do that. There we go, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And to this I'm going to add some paprika. Good. Stir that together. And then just carefully spoon this over the top of our casserole. Try to get it as even as possible at this stage. It's going to be easier spreading it if you do. So set that down and then just spread it out best you can to cover everything. And while this bakes, this is going to seep right down into the casserole. Get that little lone potato in there. Great. Now, just for yumminess, I do like to put a little bit of cheese on there. So if you like to put a little bit of cheese on there, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. Make sure your oven's preheated. I'm going to cover this with some aluminum foil and put this into the oven. The casserole's done now. What you're going to want to do is simply remove the aluminum foil from it about the last 10 or 15 minutes of baking. That will allow the top to brown up nicely. And there we have our beautiful nacho potato casserole. I'm going to finish it off with a few freshly chopped red bell peppers and a fresh sprig of cilantro. Beautiful. I'm Chef Bryan, cooking fresh with Green Giant. I look forward to sharing more Green Giant family recipes with you in the future. I'll see you all later.